Well, hey there, Bright Light, and welcome to this week's episode of Urban Shamanism with me, Steffi Funk, where I give you the sacred tools for an extraordinary life in the concrete jungle. So with that, let's dive right into today's episode where I am giving you the tools to work with the energetic realm so that all of your action in the physical realm to manifest your dreams is effortless instead of a struggle. So, if you are in action, you are working with the energetic direction of the north. And the north pertains to the medicine wheel. And if you've been following along in my 4-part video series, you know that the medicine wheel is a sacred manifestation map that allows you to birth your dreams into the world. So today we're going to talk about the north, and I'm going to let you know, 1, what it's all about, 2, some tips for navigating it successfully and effortlessly, and 3, how to stay in action in the north without getting derailed. So I'll give you some tools for that at the end. So with that, let's talk about what the north is all about. So the north, if you recall in our medicine wheel, is the last direction. So if you've been following along, you already have been through the east, the south, the west. If you have not seen those videos, I highly recommend you go back and watch them. They will give you so much context and help you be successful when you are in action in the north. Remember, action is the last thing we do when it comes to manifesting. There's all this other energetic groundwork that we've laid first so that when we're in the north, our action is effortless instead of a struggle. But there's some things to keep in mind about the north. So 1, I promised to tell you what the north is all about. So the qualities of the north are power, leadership, action, vitality. So when you think of what the north is about and what the energy of that direction is, one thing to know about it is that it does take a lot of strength and courage, right? So when we are birthing our dreams into the world, like for me, I used the medicine wheel to birth my divine purpose into the world, which is helping other people find their divine purpose. It requires a lot of strength and courage to do that. And so one thing I want you to know about the north is that anytime you're going to take action in the north, it is always what's called a bid for power. Now, what that means is that when you are birthing something in the north, in using your action to birth it, you're birthing a manifestation, which means it's not currently in existence. Right? So you are creating something that doesn't currently exist, and that requires an expansion beyond the edges of our comfort zones. So it requires a bid for power in order to make that happen, which requires courage and strength to do. So my point in telling you this is, while it may be effortless in the north, it's not necessarily easy. Okay, and that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. I think we get into a lot of trouble, especially for those of us who've been following spirituality for some time. We like to think that everything should be flowy, and if it's not flowy, that means it's not meant to be. We'll define flowy. Of course, yes, the north is full of synchronicities and magic and all of these wonderful ways that the universe is going to show up to match your energy, especially when you've been leveraging the power of the energy of the medicine wheel. However, just because it feels uncomfortable, that doesn't mean it's not flowy. So expect to be uncomfortable when you get in action in the north. So many people hang out on the sidelines and in the stands, dreaming, wishing, praying, hoping, thinking, judging, criticizing, instead of actually acting. So, if you are going to play in the north, remember, you're getting in the game. You're getting out of the stands. And does your heart race when you're in the game? Yes. Are fear and excitement 2 sides of the same coin? Yes. Don't expect it to be comfortable. I think that is such an important lesson in the north so that you don't get derailed, okay? Because it's so easy for the fear dragons to take you out, especially in the north. The creative birth canal is the dragon's lair. And the north is like that transition period, like right as the baby is getting born or right before the baby's about to be born, and they are vicious at that point. So be aware that they're going to try to take you out. Okay, a few more tips for navigating the north. I'm going to give you 5 tips. Number 1 is that you only ever need to follow the next inspired action. What that means is you do not need to know the next 10,000 actions or even the next 5 actions. You just need to know the next one. And for that, you're going to check in here. And it's going to feel expansive and it's going to feel joyful. And you're just going to have an idea of, I know that's what I need to do next. You may not have any idea what you're going to do after that. That is okay. The whole thing in the north is that you receive insight, you act, and then you hand it over. Receive insight, act, hand it over. Receive insight, act, hand it over. And what I mean by hand it over is, this is your second tip, is to release all attachment to the outcome. Stay out of the results business. Stay out of like what you think is supposed to be happening, because the universe has that part. It's a really weird paradox of manifesting that you need to let the universe do her job in order for the universe to be able to do her job. But if you start thinking like, oh, I didn't get the results I wanted from that didn't work well enough, now you're starting to get into fear and control and feeling like you have to do it all yourself, and that will completely shut you down. So just keep taking the next inspired action, showing up, and then handing it over, okay? And then the third thing is, remember that even though you're in the north and you're in action, you can still do energy work. So I consider this like energy hygiene, right? You brush your teeth every day, you take a shower every day, do energy work every day. And that will make sure that as you're working in the physical realm, that it's much more effortless. Because think of everything like a lever, okay? So like this is the physical realm right here. This is like the part of the lever that like takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy to move. It's like force and effort and strain. Or you can work over here and just this little part, right? This like tiny little lever. This is the energetic realm. This makes it really easy to move. So spend a lot of your time over here, even when you're in the north, to make the lever move really easily instead of forcing and efforting and straining in the physical, which is like this really dense reality. So some things you can do are like in the morning, you can still do that really beautiful process in the east where you're programming the quantum field with the way you want to feel. You can call in allies, like if there's a power animal you love to work with, or if you like want to work with the energy of the sun. I mean, think about it. The north is all about power. It's a bid for power. What's more powerful than the sun? Call in the energy of the sun each morning. Great sun, thank you so much for your beautiful bright light. Fill me with your energy and your vitality and your clarity and your strength and your power so that I can go forward and do Spirit's will for me. Like things like that. And, really feeling the sun like come into your being and fill you up in your power chakra. Things like that will continue to make the north much more fun and easy and effortless. Okay, fourth tip. If things feel really sticky, like you're feeling really struggly, go back in the medicine wheel to the direction where you lost your footing. So remember, if you are in struggle in the north, that means that you lost your footing somewhere back here and you fell into a negative pole. So go back to that direction, do some of the processes from the prior videos for that direction, get yourself into the positive pole, and then move forward and back into the north. Okay, and then number 5 is, if you fall, get back up again. Here's the deal. There is no such thing as failure. Life is just life. Like, it's not really that big of a deal, right? It's like this grand experiment. We're all here, these spiritual beings having human experiences on these like grand heroes journeys. So just think of whatever you want to create as your personal experiment. And in an experiment, you don't fail when something doesn't work. You're just learning how not to do something. So just info gather and stay very neutral and objective about like how you're moving forward. And just remember that there's no such thing as failure. And I want to finish with saying this, like, if you have used the medicine wheel to manifest something into the world, that means that is something that wasn't there before. And when you maybe start to get scared in the north about action and having to take action to that end, well, one of the fears that comes up is, who am I to birth this into the world? And I want to finish with that quote from Marianne Williamson where she says, who are you not to birth this into the world, right? It's not who are you to play too big, who are you to play small? Who are you to withhold your medicine, your blessings, your strengths from the rest of us? Like, if you've been inspired with it, create it, because we need it. The world needs it. Like, we are in a hurting world, and whatever that is that you've been inspired with, whatever your medicine is, you birth that into the world and you show the rest of us that it can be done, because by you being in your power, you give the rest of us permission to be in ours. Okay, so finally, I want to give you some tools to keep you going in the north. One of those is, I mentioned the fear dragons now a few times, right? The fear dragons are all those doubts and fears that will try to take you out. And I have put together a freebie for you called the 7 Fear Dragons and How to Slay Them. And if you want that freebie, just go to my website, steffifunk.com/fear-dragons. And it's a whole guidebook on how to not let the fear dragons take you down. So don't miss that. And if you don't have the link for any reason, or you can't get to it, I'll also try to post it below, or just comment below and let me know you can't find it. Make sure you're spelling my name correctly. The second thing is, don't forget, I'm giving you your own personal copy of the medicine wheel. So that's a cheat sheet that you can also download at my website, steffifunk.com/medicine-wheel. Again, I'll put that below. And then there's a couple books that have really inspired me. I'm in the north, right? So as I mentioned before, I used the medicine wheel to birth my divine purpose into the world, which is helping others birth their divine purpose. And so as I'm in the north, there's been a few things that have been really helpful to me to stay in the north and stay in action and not let my fears take me out, because that is so prevalent. And believe me, I have dealt with so many fears. One is, there is a book called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It is so good at talking about the fear dragons, what he calls resistance, and how to stay the course in pursuit of your creative genius and like letting that come forth. It's a must read. Also, show up, show up, show up. I want to just make sure that I reiterate that. And there's this other really cute thing that I wanted to share with you guys. It's called the timeline of creativity. And I got this from this girl, Leonie Dawson. If you know her on Insta, she's amazing. She's hilarious. So the timeline of creativity. So the beginning feels something like this. Like, see if you can relate to this. Oh my God, what? This is so fun. Excitement, new energy, new projects, so much energy, overwhelm, yay, yahoo, so excited, right? Then you move into this phase, this like middle phase where it starts to go, well, fuck, this is starting to be hard. Some days are harder and less easy. You start being enticed by distractions, anything to avoid work, resistant, but maybe seeing process. And what she says here is just stay the course, keep going. And then finally, there's this very end, right before the idea is about to be born, right? The north, it's like the creative birth canal, that transition. And it goes, get fucked. This is bullshit. Never again. The end is in sight. This is a period fueled by pissy feelings and bravery in equal measure. And what you need to remember here is, you got this. And what I love about this is it normalizes what happens in the north and what it really feels like. So if you're comparing yourself to other people on Instagram who make it look easy, this is what's really going on behind the scenes for everybody. So just know that it's normal. It's okay if it feels a little hard because it's uncomfortable. That doesn't mean that you can't be effortless in the north with your divine idea. So with that, let's get into today's inner shaman practice. So aside from downloading those freebies, I want to find out, where are you currently executing in your life that falls in the north? What are you in action on? And are you in struggle or are you in effortless? And if you've been in struggle, which of today's 5 tips resonates with you the most? Let me know below. I can't wait to hear from you, and I can't wait to see you next week for next week's episode of Urban Shamanism. See you then.